Hi everybody, we're back to continue walking through volume 2 of my art journals, and this is the third part of that walkthrough in which we will look at the next 4 spreads. So this is the first of those 4, and it's Princess of the Snow. The wolf is our main character here, and this is collage from an image in a magazine. And I believe, no, that's not collage. So this and the words here, these are the only pieces of collage in this piece. It's mostly paint and line work. So we have the piece divided visually into 2 pieces, basically a third of the space and 2/3 of the space. And on the left we have the wolf in a thicket of trees whose leaves have fallen. So these branches are drawn using a Stabilo All pencil, which is a water-soluble pencil. It comes in black, brown, indigo, white, a few other basic colors. And the nice thing about it is you draw with the pencil, and then you can come back with water or a water-based medium like a matte gel medium and go over the lines, and they dissolve and get a little bit blurry and more intense in color also. So those are nice tools to work with. You just have to be careful. If you put your water or your liquid this way following the line, you pretty much preserve the line, but if you just go like this, you get a blur that you may or may not want. So this is winter, but we do have over in here some green. I'm not really sure why, except that I liked it. I think I actually started with aqua and then went to blue and to green on either side of that color. So she's in the thicket, there's snow falling. It says calm, quiet, peace, equanimity, the wolf in her glory. And then over here we have some more things to say about the wolf and the winter scene. The snow falls in whispers, quiet peace, the air is frigid, but she is warm in her thick, soft coat. Mistress of the ice and snow, in winter the wolf is queen. So we have one image here that's not from winter. It's a little butterfly. Of course you wouldn't see him or her out in the winter, but from a visual point of view, it works quite nicely. It picks up the framed image, frame, image of the birds, image of the butterfly, and then we have this viney line work repeated from our border, parts of our border. And here we have an echo of these lines with a little bird sitting there. So on this part, I made a winter scene where we have snow-covered ground, and in the distance we have, on the ridge of this slope, we have some pine trees and some deciduous trees with bare branches, and I really like painting these trees. I can see that I started with the Stabilo All pencil and then came back with paint. These little pieces of text are written on snippets of different types of paper and then glued down, and we have washes of color here and here, alcohol ink, spatters, and one of the things that I really like about this piece is that it is both warm and cool. So I think the overall effect is cool, and that fits with the winter, but also I like that there's this warmth over in here and a little bit over in here with the lighter greens or the yellower greens, the browns, and then the yellow. So I'm really happy with the Princess of the Snow, and I hope she's happy in her forest home. Here we have bears going up the mountain. I don't know why. It's some sort of bear ritual, I guess, because we have bear royalty up at the top here. And in the sky we have darkening as we move up towards this bear who is lit from the moonlight. And I think it's a joyous occasion because we have these stars and they're swirling, so they're very happy in the sky. What it says here is, the bears follow the moonlit path going up the mountain to meet the moon. There is much to be done before the moonbeams tumble down the mountainside and splash in pools of light. So we've created this imaginary landscape from some collage, but mostly from paint. This part is collaged, this is collaged. I think the bears were painted directly on this, not painted on something else and then moved. So these clumps are images from magazines of clumps of foliage, but I've really obscured them with washes of color, and then I've added these lines and spirals of dots and so on to give really a very fanciful look to the landscape. And here we have drips of acrylic ink, white acrylic ink coming down. The moonbeams are falling, splashing in this pool of light. So it has a mystical quality and I think a ceremonial quality. The bears are up to something that's very important to them, but we're not really sure what it is. There's some writing here, but it's pretty obscured with the washes of color, so I can't really see it. But there are bears going up the hill. Here we have beavers in their lodge. So one of the most interesting, I think, from point of view of technique, parts of this spread is the use of masa paper in the background. You can see the edge of it down here. Masa paper, I think of it as a rice paper, but it is not. It is a pulp paper, but it is very interesting to work with. It has the one side is pretty smooth and the other side has almost a velvety nap. And there are several ways of working with it. The way I worked with it here, I wanted to put watercolor over it. So I had to begin by adhering the masa paper to the page, to the spread in the journal. And when I did that, I was very, very, very careful not to get any of the matte gel medium on the right side, on this upper side of the masa paper, because if I had done that, it would have sealed it and the watercolor would not have worked on it. So I began laying the masa paper down, gluing it down, I should say, and then I could do watercolor over it. So the background is watercolor. Watercolor goes really beautifully over the masa paper. It has a lovely texture. The colors flow and blend into each other really nicely, if that's what you want, by dampening the areas first. And then I'm not sure why I left the beavers so, I don't want to say undone, but minimally done. But for whatever reason, I decided to do that. I think maybe I liked the way the forms were coming out with the very different values between the light and the dark, creating the form, like I said. And then there's some pen work over it. Beavers basking in the light from within, which is love. So once I had that done, once I had the watercolor done, I could proceed with the collage, which is sort of the ground, sheltering the underground den, the underground beaver den. So, like I say, collage, also some line work, the old leaves that I like to draw so much. Here's some over here. a safe place to grow, shelter, and again, I think nice colors. It reminds me of the colors in this one, although this is warmer. So happy little beavers, safe in their den. Mossa paper, accents of white sprinkles and white dots. Okay. The story of us. So this one, as you can see, obviously, has very little color in it. I started with the concept of wanting to represent the animals that were in the neighborhood where I used to live. So I did drawings of these 3 animals. And also I sat down at my computer and I wrote a bunch of stuff about each of the animals. And I printed it out and sprayed the papers with fixative because it was an inkjet printer and it would smear with water, so the fixative would keep it from smearing. So I laid that down as the basis, collage basis with all that text, which at this point is really not readable unless you work really, really hard. And then, of course, some of it goes under the places where the animals are that you can't see anyway. But so the text, and then I put some very light washes of color over it, added the drawings, more washes of color, blending it into the background, and then just a lot of fun with some line work, drawing these branches with the berries, more branches, more berries, grasses, tall grasses, bigger branches, tall grasses, shorter grasses, just kind of on and on and on and on. And then some spirals, which are one of my favorite motifs, some round open dots, a little bit of text that you actually can read. The beauty and joy of life. The opossum has a sweet face and soft fur. I don't know if they have soft fur. I just made that up. I remember seeing this jackrabbit when, and then the rest of it is under the hidden. There's jackrabbit. What is the story of us? Safety, Kit Fox, comfort of home and family. A very subtle piece, but one that I really like, and enhanced not just with subtle washes of color, by which I mean transparent acrylic paint, but also alcohol ink, dribs and drabs, which I really love also. So those are the 4 spreads for today's flip through. This one maybe is, I don't know. I was going to say the 4 are different, but they also have similarities. And that's one of the fun things about journaling. It's just what is today's story? What do I want to do today? And sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes it's not so subtle. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was useful to you. And we will be back to finish up this volume, which has one of my favorite spreads ever, this one. So I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.